Here on the ground, change happens fast. Problems feel frequent and urgent. It's loud and anxiety runs high. From a satellite view, the Earth looks the same as it did thousands of years ago. We've been here before. Let's learn from our past and shoot for a better future.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of A Satellite View. I'm Todd Mikkelson, your host, speaking at you from Sunday, June 29th, 2025, in the space and time continuum. And I feel like every episode now should be entitled something like Casey Kasem's countdown of the 5 top things Donald Trump is trying to distract from this week. There would be more than 5, of course. And to organize the show and structure it in that way, it would just take too much of my time. So I'm just going to kind of go off the cuff here. I was this close to not even doing the show because I'm trying to live my life. And frankly, I'm getting sick of Trump's BS, as I know you are as well. And that's why we come here on the show. I think it would be in our best interest to keep in mind that really the Republicans realize how much in trouble they are right now. I don't know that Donald Trump personally does, but I think a lot of people around him do. They know that it's not working the way they thought it would. They know that people are woke. Why do you think they started criticizing us by calling us woke? Why do you think they tried to hypnotize their minions, their followers, the Trumpers, into thinking that being woke is bad? What are you supposed to stay asleep so we can rape you and kill you? One of the things, it's probably number 1. Now we've reached the top of our chart. At number 1, the big barfable bill going through Congress at the moment. They're trying to take away funding for Planned Parenthood. Now, the history of Planned Parenthood in the 1970s, Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush were huge advocates for Planned Parenthood. And you know why? You probably do. If you don't, it's because a lot of women used Planned Parenthood for their health care. Less than 1% of what they do is abortion care, which is part of health care. But Planned Parenthood is not the big boogeyman doing nothing but killing babies. All right. And by the way, the Republicans made it illegal for any federal funding for abortion care. There was a woman who needed an abortion in Florida because she had a I can't remember, a very deadly problem going on. Her baby was dead, didn't have a heartbeat, and it was threatening her life. And she had to get an abortion to save her life. She is a Republican legislator in Florida. Did I write her name down? I don't think I did. We don't need to know her name. She's blaming Democrats for scaring doctors because she had trouble getting the care she needed, because in Florida, the doctors are scared to death to do anything like that because the Republicans said that they'll throw them in jail. But she says the Democrats say the doctors will get thrown in jail if they do that. So it's all the Democrats' fault. Anyway, that's not the path I was going on, but that is another thing that happened this week. The Planned Parenthood funding will take away all health care to many women, of course, overwhelmingly poor women, but also just sort of middle-class, regular women. I know most women I know got most of their health care through Planned Parenthood throughout my lifetime. And indeed, Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush were for Planned Parenthood because everybody was, because it's a good thing. And the Republicans, when they got in bed with the far-right Christian coalition, starting with Ronald Reagan. That's when they started their attack on Planned Parenthood. And it's been a huge fight ever since, for 45 years now. The Republican Party would prefer, if you're a woman, for you to die. They don't want you here with that mouth yapping. It's okay if you just shut up and, have the baby and clean the house. But I know God gave you a brain, but you're going to use it? In my house? No. Anyway, they want women to die. They want children to die. This bill will be taken away. I don't need to tell you all this because you've heard this a million times. 16 million people off of health care. There is a study that done by Yale and another entity together. They said that if this bill passes the way it is, they think at least 50,000 people a year will die. They will die just because of the provisions about Medicare and Medicaid. Anyway, okay, so that's probably number one on Casey Kasem's list of the top 5 things Donald Trump's trying to distract us from this week. Oh, man. Iran. He bombed Iran last week. And then his Pentagon came out and said, oh, yeah, it didn't really do the job. It did. We carried out our plan, but it did not take away the capabilities of Iran for developing a nuclear bomb. Might have delayed it a little bit, but really it's just sort of like they just need to, redo the carpeting and paint in their underground bunker, and then they can get started back up on building their bomb. That, by the way, the deal that Barack Obama made with them 10 years earlier stopped them from doing, and then Donald Trump ripped that up under the tutelage of Benjamin Netanyahu, who his wars are running out. He's completely obliterated Gaza at this point, so what more can you do there? And then this Iranian thing, it just was a nothing burger. So Netanyahu's wars have run out. He started the war 12 days before, so I don't know how many days, 3 weeks ago now. Netanyahu started bombing Iran because the next day there was supposed to be a vote of non-confidence by his parliament, and then the trials get back going again because he is Israel's Donald Trump, and he is supposed to be on trial. The only reason he's not on trial is because he started wars. It's very maddening. And then what does Donald Trump tweet, or whatever it's called on his stupid platform? He says, stop the trials on Netanyahu. It's a witch hunt. So it's just a deal that Netanyahu made with him. And then another thing he's trying to distract us from, another thing on Casey Kasem's list, countdown. And Trump admitted this on camera in a microphone. He was asked, so did you know that Iran was going to bomb our base in Qatar? Qatar. Did you know that? Oh, yeah, we knew that. Yeah, they called us and said, how would 1 o'clock be? And I said, that sounds good. I swear to God, find it. That's basically what he said. I mean, I'm not even paraphrasing. As best as I remember seeing the clip, that is what he said. We cleared all our people out of our base so that Iran could bomb our base in retaliation for us bombing them. And then Donald Trump said, he's going to give $30 billion to Iran because they got to rebuild. They got to rebuild that country. They've been in. The United States has had sanctions against Iran for years and years, and now Donald Trump. It's just the last person talking in his ear, and he's admitting this publicly. What is it going to take? So again, you've heard me use the term fever pitch. All of these things are surfacing, and I'm not even down the list here yet. All of the Republicans are scared to death about this big barfable bill, longtime North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis voted against it, or against moving forward on it. It hasn't really been voted on yet. That's another thing we should clear up because people are confused. So when Tom Tillis voted to no longer move forward on this bill on Friday night or whatever, Saturday morning, he then announced that he's not running for re-election. That's what happens if you're a Republican who decides to become a human being for a moment and not kill women and children by voting in favor of a bill that will. Lisa Murkowski, who we all thought was, kind of standing up against Trump because she assured us she would, she made a deal so that Alaska wouldn't be affected by those bad provisions. Her state. Some sort of thing that if it's not a contiguous, if it's not in the lower 48 states. So I guess she also got a big, favor done for Hawaii too. But she made a deal to vote yes on the moving forward on the bill if Alaska could be not included in some of those provisions. Wow. She all of a sudden moved to being one of the worst people ever to walk the earth. Lisa Murkowski. She doesn't care. It was suspicious that she remained a Republican. Oh, yeah. They're really scared about this, and the Democrats right now are making the entire bill be read on the floor, which I'm glad that they found the testicular regions to do that. That's actually more disgusting than just saying they found the balls to do it, right? Anyway, we're not going to discuss what's more disgusting between just calling them balls or testes or testicles. Okay. It's kind of like, okay, no, we're not going to. There are other terms where the slang is less offensive than the actual clinical name. But I should start a different podcast for that discussion. Anyway, wow. What else? I need to keep track of. Oh, speaking of balls, why did Big Balls resign? The guy working for Elon Musk, that Elon Musk called Big Balls, who was working for Doge, he either resigned or he got pushed out. He was told to resign. Is he going to turn on Elon Musk? What happens if and or when Big Balls gets questioned by the authorities as to some illegal things he might have done when he was working for Elon Musk? Is he going to go to jail for Elon Musk? Is Elon Musk going to go to jail for Donald Trump? Elon Musk, by the way, again this week, after hiding for the last 2 or 3 weeks, he hid for 2 or 3 weeks. Then he came out and said, number 4 on our list, on our chart, Donald Trump is all over the Jeffrey Epstein files. Elon Musk came out and said that, and he said, Donald Trump would have never won the election without me. We're going to talk about that in some detail here coming up after the break. So then Elon Musk got scared and said, oh, I shouldn't have said those things. And then he hid again for 2 or 3 weeks. And now he's back saying this bill will ruin America. Again, like sort of over dramatic, over the top criticisms of this bill. And the Republicans if they vote for it, they're completely screwed. If they don't pass it, they're completely screwed. This is where the Republicans have put themselves. They worked on it for 40 years, and they thought, and I guess they were, successful starting in 2016 finally. I mean, kind of with George W. Bush, too. They were able to steal a lot of money from us in those wars that he lied us into. Wow, when I do my meandering thought version of the show, we just move back and forth in history, and I lose track of what the hell I'm talking about. I am kind of trying to stay mostly in this week, but we are going to go back in time a little bit. When we come back, let's take a short break. You're listening to A Satellite View. We'll be right back. Satellite View. If you like the music you hear here, go to toddmikkelson.com, push the music button. You can hear this music and a lot of other music I've written throughout the years. And go to satelliteviewpodcast.com. That's our website. Sign up to be on our email list. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Todd Mikkelson. I'm also on Blue Sky and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Oh, and we have a YouTube channel too where we're releasing this on video a day or two after we release it on the podcast version. So you can find us on YouTube if you go to if you search for Satellite View Podcast on YouTube, and then subscribe. It's free. Try and get some subscriptions going up on YouTube. Interesting stories. This is the big weekend of Pride Month. My daughter and her friends had a blast in Minneapolis yesterday, as they do every year. Most people I know call it kind of the most fun weekend of the year. And in Budapest, Hungary, they banned anything like that, any LGBTQ activities whatsoever. And of course, then they overthrew their government. And the government still, though, was saying, we will cause you much pain if we find that you have been a part of anything LGBTQ. And at least 100,000 people showed up in a big parade in Budapest. Wow. The whole world is brave and hitting the streets, and that's exactly what we need to be doing. That's another thing Donald Trump wants to constantly be distracting us from. Wow. So I can't tell you how great that is. And thank you for being a part of anything you're doing here in the United States or anywhere if you're listening from another place. The whole world is mobilizing and standing up against the horribleness, the darkness. Speaking of that, Jeff Bezos. Wow. Why does he not realize how much of an absolute piece of human feces everybody in the world thinks he is? Wow. Well, the party that he is now, how can I clean up my language here? I'm not coddling the, no, not, I know what it was. I came up with it a long time ago. Using part of Donald Trump's anatomy as a popsicle, Jeff Bezos has been doing that while the Trump administration is trying to kill children and women. Why does Jeff Bezos think that's going to work out well for him at all? Why does Jeff Bezos not get death threats and instead, Tom Tillis or any Republican who decides to be a human being for a moment, or the things that have happened to Democrats, the threats going all the way to the, again, horrible tragedy with my friend and so many of us here in Minnesota, friend Melissa Hortman and her husband and their dog. Why is Jeff Bezos able to do what he does when the people who are trying to do good things for other people get punished so badly? Anyway, okay, I want to get a few things in here. Another thing that is happening. Fresh revelations linking far-right activists to vote-counting commissions, along with over 56,000 legal challenges, have raised serious concerns about the integrity of Poland's recent presidential election. Fears are growing that the results may face a recount. Really interesting story breaking out in Poland. the right wing, of course, the right wing, it looks like they messed with things. I mean, it's obvious. It's the same old crap. So Poland may have a recount, and they may decertify the election. They may call the election a farce and do like what that other country did. Can't remember their name right now. Where they actually said, no, that election did not count. And these and other countries have talked about Elon Musk messing with their elections. The missing votes uncovered in Smart Elections legal case in Rockland County, New York, we're moving to the United States now, are just the tip of the iceberg. Skip down in the story here to, in the largest known political advocacy donation in U.S. history, industrialist Bar Seed funded a new group run by Federalist Society co-chair Leonard Leo, who guided Trump's Supreme Court picks and helped end federal abortion rights. If you don't know who Leonard Leo is, look him up. Let's go back in time to March 2021. Leonard Leo, the judicial kingmaker behind the modern conservative legal machine, sold a quiet Chicago company by the name of Trip Light. The buyer, Eaton Corporation, a global power infrastructure conglomerate that just happened to have a partnership with Peter Thiel's Palantir, were the buyer. Now, Leonard Leo was given this company called Trip Light, and he sold it for $1.65 billion to Eaton Corporation, who is in partnership with Peter Thiel's Palantir. Palantir, you probably heard that name. To most, Trip Light was just a hardware brand, battery pickups, surge protectors, power strips. But in America's elections, Trip Light devices were something else entirely. They're physically connected to ES&S central tabulators and electionware servers and Dominion tabulators and central servers across the country. Okay? They're not dumb devices. They are smart UPS units, programmable, updatable, and capable of communicating directly with the election system via USB serial port or Ethernet. This story is very detailed. This whole story is complicated yet simple. It goes back longer ago than 2021, but this is just leading up to the 2024 election. I want to skip down to where Elon Musk starts to get involved. Okay? By the way, enter the ballot scrubbing platform Ballotproof, co-created by Ethan Shortran. Why do they have such weird names? A longtime employee of Elon Musk and a current Doge employee. Ballotproof was pitched as a transparency solution, an app to verify scanned ballot images and support election integrity. But with Palantir's AI controlling the background and Ballotproof cleaning the front, only one thing was missing: the signal to go live. So Palantir makes it, they scrub any evidence that anybody's messing with the thing. Ballotproof up front makes sure that things can't be detected. And then the final public breadcrumb in September 2024. Eaton formally partnered with Elon Musk. The stated purpose: a vague, forward-looking collaboration focused on grid resilience and next-generation communications. But buried in the partnership documents was this line, quote, exploring integration with Starlink's emerging low-orbit DTC direct-to-cell infrastructure for secure operational continuity. The signal came on October 30th, 2024, just days before the election. Musk activated 265 brand new low Earth orbit mini satellites, which equipped with direct-to-cell technology capable of processing, routing, and manipulating real-time data, including voting data, through his satellite network. Direct-to-cell does not require routers, towers, or traditional SIM. It connects directly from satellite to any compatible device, including embedded modems like UPS units that are on the vote tabulation machines. This was reported in the New York Times. Just before Starlink's direct-to-cell activation, Musk texted a confidant, quote, I'm feeling more optimistic after tonight. Tomorrow we unleash the anomaly into the matrix, unquote. Then, an hour later, and I'm not going to do his imitation anymore, he writes, quote, this isn't something on the chessboard, so they'll be quite surprised. Lasers from space, unquote. Okay? This is coming together, and more of it is being uncovered because of the investigation now going on in Rockland County, New York. I'm reading to you from a Substack written by a group called This Will Hold. Go find This Will Hold. Find their Substack. Go find them on Blue Sky, Twitter. They're reporting on this. They're not afraid to report on this stuff. I've also told you about electiontruthalliance.org. Go there. The interesting thing that has happened in the last month or less is that the New York Supreme Court has ruled that, yes, discovery should move forward in Rockland County, where there's a few districts where Kirsten Gillibrand, running as the Democrat for the senator, got 79% of the vote, and Kamala Harris got 0 votes. So Elon overdid it a little bit. And other countries as well are complaining about Elon Musk messing with their presidential elections. Now, is that maybe number one on our chart of Casey Kasem's countdown of the top 5 things Donald Trump wants to distract us from this week? Or is it the big barfable bill? Or is it his debacle in Iran, where he lost a lot of people because he's trying to start a new war in the Middle East? Okay, now I want to end with something that is positive, because the most difficult thing about taking this down, about telling the truth that Kamala Harris won this election, you know, you feel it like I do. Anyway, it's being talked about more and more. And I've always said the most difficult thing is to get the most Trumpy people in the country to accept all of this stuff and not just do what the Republicans knew they would do by, when the Republicans said the 2020 election was rigged, a lot of the reason they did that was so we wouldn't say the 2024 election was rigged. They know all these elections are rigged because they're the ones doing the rigging there. Anyway, I want to quickly get to something that's very interesting about these people turning and why, if all this information is out, and now the investigations are now 7 months old and they have uncovered absolute undeniable evidence that this whole story is true about Starlink and Elon Musk and the vote counts and the tabulation machines. Donald Trump has admitted it publicly numerous times. Elon knows those machines better than anyone. And Elon Musk saying he wouldn't have won the election without me. Some people say, oh, that's because of all the money he dumped in. Well, he did the same thing in Wisconsin. It did not work. You can't just buy elections anymore. So, the most loyal Trump people. By the way, we thought Elon was one of them, right? Is he anymore? We thought Tom Tillis was one of them. He's not running for re-election. We thought Rand Paul was. We thought, we see it happening more and more. Now, AOC, she said, I'm going to read to you here from some answers from the vote regret question. She, on her, I think it was her Instagram account, said, hey, if you voted for Trump and you now regret it, put in the comments why. I will keep you anonymous, but I want to find out what made you turn on Donald Trump. So if you voted Trump and regretted it, can you share what and why and what shifted you? One answer: realized I was in an echo chamber / conservative media bubble. Propaganda, essentially. Another answer: he said that if we voted for Kamala, we would enter World War III, but he's the one bombing Iran. Okay? Those are two sort of unrelated things. Another answer: I thought he was going to clear out the immigrants who were criminals. Now it's all immigrants. Some of these people, I don't know, their final part of their answer, they sound like reasonable people. Another answer: Signalgate. I like some of his policies, but you can't hire totally incompetent people. So you see how what I'm getting at here is, why does everything have to get so bad? Why do so many horrible things need to happen? It's because these selfish dummies need all of this to happen for them to accept getting rid of Donald Trump, which is what we need to do for this country and democracy's survival. Another answer: I thought Congress and SCOTUS would keep him checked and balanced. Another answer: I'm an ESL teacher. I love my kids. He said only the criminals would be targeted. He lied. Another answer: fell victim to the propaganda, didn't listen to the other side, lost a piece of my humanity. Another answer: for my mom, it was immediately pardoning the January 6th rioters. Took her only a day. Another answer is the economy is not improving. So a lot of these things are unrelated. Pardoning the January 6th rioters is pretty far away from Signalgate. And so these things, and it's sad that, if Signalgate turned you, but pardoning the January 6th rioters didn't, I don't want to hang out with you. But these people are slowly turning more and more and more. And we're seeing the polling. Trump's polling on the economy is like a 38% approval rating, 59% disapprove of. Another thing that's on the list of Casey Kasem's countdown of the top 5 things Donald Trump wants to distract us from this week. Anyway, so we got to keep our attention in the right places. By the way, Lauren Boebert, again, another distraction thing. She said, we got to release these Epstein files. Donald Trump does not want us to be talking about that. So, drop a bomb on Iran. See if that can distract people from all this stuff. This is all BS. And we have to remember that he's trying to cover up. The one basic thing is that he and the Republican Party are doomed the moment we realize what they're doing. And we're realizing what they're doing more and more. Even the people who are the staunchest Trump followers are realizing it more and more. The Republican Party, the Christian right, the white supremacists, all of the dark fashions are doomed. And it's looking more and more every day like, yeah, we're woke. Proud to be. We're not sleeping anymore. You can't do this to us anymore. We need to not have fear. I know there are some scary things going on with some people, but if you're not being kidnapped and deported right now, you got to keep it together. We all got to keep this together so that we can help those people by getting rid of the forces that are doing this to them. It's up to us to get rid of this. We're working on it. I feel very strongly that it is going to happen. I feel very strongly it's going to happen very soon. I feel like things, again, are reaching a fever pitch more and more. I think this week we may find out some things that will turn even more people angry against Trump. Possibly some overwhelmingly astonishing things. If you remember Anonymous 37 days ago now said in 38 days, we're going to release information that will be undeniable, and it's going to bring the whole shebang down. That's supposed to happen on July 1st, which is Tuesday. Today is Sunday evening right now. So what's that going to be? They have done some astonishing things in the past. The last time they put out a teaser like this, they delivered the goods on getting the manifesto of those airplanes that went to El Salvador. You know, that was a pretty big deal. You may not have heard about that because ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, they don't report things like that. So I've gone over time again. I was, believe it or not, trying not to. Anyway, I think I did want to point out these things. I know these things are not being talked about in the mainstream media, except for maybe the big barfable bill. This is why I do the show. This is why I did not skip doing the show, even though I was like, I just want to live my life. I want to have a nice Sunday. The weather's nice today and all this. We got to keep together. We got to stick together and keep each other sane. That's what I'm trying to do here. I hope it's helping you. You coming and listening to this show really helps me, because doing this show makes me feel connected to you and others. And we need to feel connected. We need to be connected. We need to stay together and help each other get through this really horrible time we're going through. Take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. We are getting through this. We are going to get all the way through it. It might get even more gnarly, but we are going to get through this together. And like Kelly Morrison said, after our friend Melissa had the horrible thing happen to her, Kelly Morrison said, we're going to get through this together with even more determination. Even more determination than 12.5 million Americans turning out on No King's Day. And again, mainstream media is saying like I think they're up to 7 million. But when you do the math of all the count numbers that came in from the many different cities, we're up to 12.5 million. That's more than 3.5% of the entire population of the country. And that's 3% is the magic number. If you can activate 3% of your entire population, you're making some movement. You're making things happen. And we need to keep doing that. Let's keep doing it for my friend Melissa. Let's keep doing it for all the people that are being kidnapped and are scared to death. Let's do it for the poor people who are scared to death about losing their health care and all these things. Let's do it for the women who are being attacked by the Republican Party. Thank you so much for listening. I will speak at you next week.
You've been listening to A Satellite View with Todd Mikkelson. Go to toddmikkelson.com for links and more information.